Now, this morning, we're remembering Mayor David Dinkins, New York City's first and today only black mayor.
Yeah, joining us now to share more about his life is someone who knew him very well, Reverend Al Sharpton. Good morning, Reverend Sharpton. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Good morning. Good morning.
I first want to get your thoughts about Mayor Dinkins' legacy, not on just New York City, but the country, in fact, because you're quoted as saying David Dinkins was a forerunner to Barack Obama, and he was elected saying the same things. Give us some perspective there.
Well, David Dinkins set a tone of unity at a time this country was very much divided. When he became mayor of New York, we were talking, and rightfully so, about the tale of two cities. And he was one that would try to bridge the gap and bring fairness to those that were at the bottom rung of the economic and political ladder, and bring fairness to the minds of those that were at the top. That became the theme of President Obama.
Right.
It was Dave Dinkins that introduced the idea of a gorgeous mosaic, which was part of what led to Jesse Jackson's Rainbow and the whole idea that Barack Obama came with. And he was an activist, but he was an activist that believed in understanding those that we fought. I've known him since I was a teenager. In fact, he was a lawyer that incorporated my youth group. And at times I would be saying, you need to be more feisty. I'd call him names. And he kind of understood our being more zealous than him until we understood that he was actually getting more things done.
Yeah.
Dave Dinkins turned this city around and turned the whole perception of this country around.
Reverend Al, you said in your tweet this morning, I knew him since you were a teenager, a proud, powerful black man without being ugly toward those that were ugly to him. Here's your tweet, and you said, rest in peace, Uncle Dave. You referenced that gorgeous mosaic, and you also referenced his kindness. I had the honor of meeting David Dinkins a number of times at a previous employer. And not only was he an impeccable dresser, by the way, but he really was this gentleman. And the Washington Post once had a headline, "Is Dinkins too kind for New York?" But leading with kindness goes a very long way, especially with what he was dealing with in the early 90s.
Absolutely. He was dealing with a very bitter and divided city. His race for mayor in '89 was ugly against Rudy Giuliani, but he wouldn't answer with ugliness. It was a time of a racial killing of Yusef Hawkins in Bensonhurst.
Right.
And he would come and try to stand for justice, but healing at the same time. And as one that knew him since I was 16, he was just as unifying and peaceful in private as he was in public. There was no two David Dinkins. What you saw in public is what we got in private.
Right.
A principled, calm, healing man who wanted to move society forward for everybody.
Absolutely. And he was a man who loved a lot of things, including tennis. I met him at an event with the U.S. Open. He even invited me to come play tennis with him. I mean, he was just that generous. He met his wife at Howard University, a classmate there, Joyce. She unfortunately passed away not too long ago. But I want to ask you, Reverend Al, what's your last memory of him, and how is he going to stick in your mind?
Well, he'll stick in my mind as a man that when I was just a teenager in Brooklyn wanting to do things in civil rights, I was already a boy preacher. I took the subway to see the city clerk at my mother's behest. It was David Dinkins. He took me for lunch to a vegetarian restaurant. First time I ever had a non-meat meal. And he took time with a young kid and made me believe in what was possible.
Yeah.
And I will never forget that way before anybody knew who I was, he made me find out who I could be.
Wow.
And that's the man that we remember today, who made the city understand what it could be.
I mean, think about it, Reverend Al. You know this better than anyone. He was the 106th mayor, 105 previous mayors before him, but he was known to have the most diverse agency leaders in the history of New York politics. He had 2 women deputy mayors. He had a Puerto Rican fire commissioner, a black police commissioner, a black gay psychiatrist leading the mental health area. So he really, like you said, paved the way for so many things moving forward, including Barack Obama.
He paved the way. There wouldn't have been a Barack Obama without him. And he also had the grace of not having gotten a lot of credit for people that walked down a path he laid, and never was bitter about it. I would say to him in private, you know, we gave you some unfair criticism when you were mayor, and so-and-so's not giving you credit now. And he kind of looked at me in a fatherly way and says, I understand. I understand. In due time, you will find you will get credit in the long run. I'm not worried about it. He was a gracious man, and I used to say to him, sometimes I think you were too decent to be a politician, because he
Yeah.
just was a decent, kind of person.
Absolutely.
Yes, he was. He had that energy about him. Reverend Al, thank you so much for sharing some of your memories and perspective with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.